Hey there, bros. Thanks for dropping into this episode of It's Not Over Yet. This time around, we get to hear from one of EI's most legendary characters in the form of Keith Harris. Yep, the man with two distinctly different nicknames. Of course, we get into how both of those came to be. We also hear a little bit about what it's like to live with the then future mayor of San Diego and an all-time prank that he pulled, which is a story I was not familiar with. That's good fun. And then also how he started his own sub fraternity and the Au Natural initiation rites that entailed with that organization. So some good fun there. And then also too, we get into his post-college career and a really distinguished award that he earned by virtue of his work with the SDSU alumni up in the Bay Area. So hope you enjoyed this really fun and fascinating conversation I had with Keith Harris. All right. Here we are. I have got a great one on store for us today in the form of Keith Harris. My man, thank you so much. You're at your home there in Napa. What's going on up there in wine country? How are you?
Dude, the wine is flowing, doing very well. We have some warm weather. I used to be a beer drinker, and I've moved over to Pinot Noirs
You fancied
nowadays.
up on us.
Um,
Okay.
I am. Got to hold the finger out, a little champagne here and there to kind of, bubble it up, kind of
Classy.
have a little fun.
Class.
It's nice living in the
I
country.
love it.
I'm more of a city guy.
I love it. Let's jump in. I need my third SIGs, please. I need full name, your hometown, and your big bro. Let's go. Third SIGs. Full name, hometown, and pledge class name and year.
I'm an unusual one, so this is kind
Yeah.
of fun. So Keith Patrick Harris, that's what it says in my Bononia. So reading off there, that matches my name. Theta Iota, San Jose State, Theta Iota
Okay.
chapter, pledged in fall '86, and was initiated at San Jose
What's
State.
your hometown? What's
And
the
then,
hometown?
I'm sorry, is
Orinda,
Orinda.
that's
So
right.
Bay Area, home of the 49ers.
Ew.
I know everybody loves that. I thought I'd just give a shout there to bother everybody on this call.
Big bro, little bros, and any offices held.
Oh yeah, thanks. I'm bouncing around here. Joe Woolman, San Jose State. Joseph P.
Okay.
Woolman was my big bro. He had a motorcycle that was bored out to a 1300cc, and he took me on the back of the bike one day, almost killed me. But I'm like, dude, you got to be my big bro. That's pretty cool. No little bros. I didn't really. It didn't work out that way. I think I had one guy that didn't make it
Okay.
through. I did with SDSU involvement. I was the activities chair for IFC. That was my claim to fame. And then certainly done lots of stuff kind of post college.
For sure. You mentioned right out of the gate, you are an affiliate. Theta Iota, a great chapter on the West Coast, if not known nationally in Kappa Sig, and they were running really good at that time. How long were you inactive there after you pledged?
Oh, great, Jim. And I want to offer some other stuff there that I really enjoyed about being there. So I was there for obviously pledge for a semester. And then I was active a semester. I was just there for a year, and I loved it there. I love my brothers there. They were really good guys. And one thing that was, I noticed a big difference from, it's kind of might be a sore spot or not, but God, their ritual proficiency was really impressive, and I really respected that. I know you're a big follower of that, and I appreciate all that. And the reason going to San Diego State was just, I wanted to get away from home because I was so close to home. I visited my mom and dad like every week. I did my laundry. I'm like, this is not the college experience. And then, enter San Diego State, the beach, and the great school atmosphere. And it was a no-brainer. So just to San Jose State for a year total.
We have a mutual brother in Ken Smithfield, and he was a very big influence on me getting into the ritual. So I know Theta Iota from that standpoint alone from Ken. But yeah, you mentioned a really a great trait of that chapter, something they're very well known for. What about who were some of the first guys you remember meeting when you came to Epsilon Iota on campus at SDSU?
Let's see. So nobody knew me, and I think it was initiation week at the house. And so I came in, and everyone's like, who the heck is this guy? Is he here, to bust us or whatever? And I met I think it was uh, uh, Carl Pittman and Dennis Villavicenarrosis. I don't know how to say his last name. God darn it. And they confirmed that I was a
Okay.
brother, if we just put it that way. And so, we got through it. And then they're like, hey, welcome. And I just kind of hung out and then just kind of loosely fit in. I just kind of met people kind of ad hoc here and there. And it fit in quite nicely. We could talk about that a little bit, how I became active with the chapter
Yeah,
and
that's
some of
what
the
I want to
activities.
know. How was that integration? Was it easy to fit in? Did you find it kind of cumbersome, or were the personalities of the chapter that attracted you to Theta Iota and got you initiated there? Were they similar enough at EI to where you blended right in?
It 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 took a little bit to blend in. Like, nobody was like instant buds. Uh, I hit it off really well with Eric Koppelmaa. I really
Okay.
liked him a lot. Really good guy. And then I gradually got to know everybody else. But my first impression of Epsilon Iota was Ron Green put up EYB on the windows, flashing bright during the holidays. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And it was hilarious, right? Like, what how we felt very comfortable in our own
We
skin.
did. Yeah.
So it it took a little while, and I fit in. I think that's kind of a mutually, everybody kind of enjoyed myself, I enjoyed them, and lots of
The
laughs.
the high school or maybe even college essay might have you compare and contrast the active chapters of Epsilon Iota and Theta Iota. How were they the same? How were they similar? How were they different?
Um, they were compare really close brotherhood, really close brotherhood. Everybody loved each other to death. Both athletic fraternities. So we were, oddly enough, Theta Iota had a lot of people in judo, a lot of judo
Okay.
people. And so nobody messed with Theta Iota because we were badasses. Not myself so much, but my pledge bros. I think my pledge bros all went on to be policemen. One was a Navy
Wow.
SEAL. One was actually went on to pursue judo, kind of semi-professionally, if you want to call it that, or being active in it. So uh, that'd be a contrast would be that I think it'd be go back to the ritual part. I think we just that proficiency really kind of, I think it bonded us a little tighter. Like, during some of our fraternity meetings, we got really heated. Hey, myself too. I'm no saint. Like we would screw around and shout a lot. And so, at Theta Iota, business was
Okay.
business. And it was, I appreciated that kind of, I don't want to say military environment, but a little more kind of, playing by the rules of the
Okay.
fraternity.
I can see that. I can see how that would come out. Did you live in the chapter house?
I did not. I lived in the dorms 2 or 3 blocks away for my year there, and I'll share can I share a couple of funny stories? So when I rushed Theta Iota, um, there's a picture of it that I sent you, and there was on Rush Week. It said Tracy Lord's Film Festival. I'm like, wow, this is a pretty cool fraternity. I want to like this sounds like my type of place. Don't analyze that too much, but I'm like, hey, wow, that's kind of obnoxious and pretty funny. And then I also noticed when I was living in the dorms during Rush Week, this guy Clint Gaver, he's one of the active bros, and he got interviewed on the local KTVU Channel 2 Fox affiliate during Rush Week, and that was right when dry rush got implemented in '86. Like you could no longer drink. It was the first year, and so they interviewed Clint on TV, and and they're like, all the fraternity guys are like, oh yeah, I think it's a good thing, it'll straighten us out. And Clint was like, nah, I'm totally against it. Dude. And he held a poker face like he was just goofing around. And I'm like, man, dude, the irreverence and the humor there was just that hit me
Right
spot
on.
on.
Did you live in at 6195 Montezuma? Did you ever live in the house there?
I did. I think it was a semester or two, kind of drawing a blank. Ben Mawson. Wait a minute. No. Who's the younger Mawson? Um, the younger Mawson was my
Okay.
roommate. How terrible. I forgot the younger brother's name. And we lived right across from Gonzo's room. and Gonzo was roommates with Mike
Okay.
Jackson, and we had some good laughs there. Obviously, living in the fraternity, lots of stuff happened with the bar of soap incident, which
I
many
was going to
people know
go there. I
about.
don't know if it was too sensitive of a
Oh,
subject. Did you manage ever to find the soap? Like that was this big dilemma of you losing your soap and not being able to find. Were you ever able to find it?
gentlemen don't tell, but I will say that it got lost in the suds. It got lost in the suds.
It happens. It happens. It happens.
It it happens. It
Uh,
happens. It just
as
stuff happens.
as a fellow house dweller at various points, what would you say are the best parts about living in the house?
Just hey, being close to great friends, right? So, if you're living in a house or a 2 bedroom, 1 bedroom apartment, you've got one or two roommates, and being in that whole motley, there's always a story there, right? Of like something that happened the night before, or some dilemma, or some heckling. And I really enjoyed the humor. And there are lots of different personalities too, right? We had downstairs was Steve Bertone, and I think God darn it, I forgot his roommate, but Steve was down there. I have a Steve Bertone story that maybe I'll keep private, but we enjoyed some good laughs on that. And then who else was in there? You were in there. Was I in there? Was I in there the same time as you?
Well, I
I'm
live
trying
right
to
next
trying to
door in the
pull my.
apartment, so I was kind of there a lot anyway, just by default. But I was able to until I was the GM in the late '80s. I was just adjacent. I didn't have to live there, and was able to kind of get the best of both worlds. You know.
Got it, got it. Yeah, some of the interesting memories in the fraternity was there was some there was some dog cemetery marker that said
Ooh.
Poochie, she always
Uh
loved
huh.
me, that somebody took from a dog pet cemetery. And just morbid. But we had some good laughs out of. I mean, I didn't, that was there before I got there, but I always thought that was quite amusing, like holy cow. And then what wasn't there something called Lake Aldridge? Like what there used to be some flooding right in the basketball
Huh.
court. That was called Lake Aldridge. Yeah, that was I enjoyed that. I got a kick out of that. I was in the room that could look out to the volleyball
Okay.
court. So I could always look out there during the
Yeah.
parties and kind of see what was going on. Then I can go hide in my room for my own,
Safety.
safety from all the trouble going on.
Reset everything.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um,
One of my uh, claims to fame also was living close to Montezuma, close to the chapter house. I was roommates with
oh,
Faulconer,
okay.
um, uh, Ray Pitesky, and Chris Condit. And Kevin Faulconer bet me $5 if I would ride my motorcycle uh, with nothing on to the Alpha Phi house. And he's like, I'll bet you $5, but you have to scream the British are coming when you get to the sorority. I'm like, oh, I'll do that because it's like 11 at night. Everyone's asleep. That knucklehead, he called the sorority in advance. And so as I'm driving my motorcycle by, they're all on the balcony and they're like, oh, they're like clapping. And I'm like, oh God, U-turn, went back, and I was not happy with the wonderful Kevin Faulconer. Shame on
The
him.
future mayor, the soon to be mayor of San Diego, is not
Yeah,
only
yeah. I have
prodding you into
those.
motorized nudity, he's getting a whole sorority to come out and witness it. That's fantastic.
Shame on him.
What
Yeah,
was
yeah. Good
what was
laughs. Good
our
laughs.
future mayor? What was he like as a roommate? How did that work out?
You know what? That's a kind of a compare contrast. I had never heard the word slacker in my life until I came to San Diego State. I don't want to say he's a slacker, but my goodness, like, he had top ramen for dinner every night. Um, he used my ties for the AS meetings always. Like he'd want a fresh round of ties, so he'd get in mine. I'm like, God darn it, I need that for the chapter meeting or whatever. Good laughs. He had that old white Mustang, a '67 convertible. Those a beauty that ran throughout college. Uh, Lots and lots of fun. Good guy. Didn't really didn't he didn't you didn't really have any intimidation of being friends or roommates with him. He was just a regular guy that did some great things for associated
Yeah,
students and obviously as San
yeah,
Diego.
for sure. You mentioned you played a role in IFC, uh, Greek Week Chair, I think, right? Um, and
Exactly.
you had a
Yeah.
unique experience where you had to then oversee Greek Week, and which we were a big part of course.
but then we got into a little bit of trouble. What was that story all about, and how did you have to go so heavy-handed on us?
Good. Hey, good question. Yeah. So I think it was called activities director. And then part of that was Greek week. And so I was responsible. Like I would, I had a team of people from the different fraternities and sororities. And so we organized all the events, the Greek games, the talent show or whatever it was, or the amphitheater. And then there was it called Sorority
Yep.
Sings? I think it was
Yep.
Sorority Sings, where the fraternities went by and sang to the sorority, and they'd be judged on, the song, their delivery, costume, and unfortunately, Kappa Sigma, they broke the rules a little bit, and
What?
I had to be the Iron
What?
Fist. They Everyone had a red solo cup in hand, and they all sang "Wasting Away in Margaritaville." And dude,
Yeah.
I had 20 I had 20 people coming up to me like, dude, they got to be DQ'd. I'm like, but that's my fraternity. And I'm like, all right, you know what? They, I think I was there when it happened. And I looked some of the guys in the eye, including Kenny White, and I could see that they just didn't care at all. And I'm like, move on, party on, Garth, and just let it go. And, unfortunately no points were scored, but I don't think many would have been scored for that presentation of, wasting
So
away in Margaritaville.
we lose
Maybe.
sorority sings, but we win the hearts and minds of the sorority girls, and because of our theme song. That's great.
It's like it all balances out. It's all the yin and the
All right. Well,
yang.
while
Exactly. Yeah.
while we're on the subject of music, you asked me to cue up a theme song for something that I want to talk about. So here you go.
Oh,
Here you go.
dude, I'm excited. Oh, listen, everybody, enjoy this.
No.
Name that
Yeah.
tune. Joe Caruso, Steve Bertone's roommate, Joey
Okay.
Caruso. He's more of a Metallica guy.
2 words.
Sounds like a bell.
Nude band. Okay.
Dude,
Nude band.
dude. I'm at San Diego State for less than a year. And I think I'm at the first initiation week for the
Okay.
Lords. And somebody's like, yeah, years ago in the 80s or maybe last year, whenever, they did something called Nude Band. I'm like, wow, dude, that's interesting. We should do that. Let's bring it back to life. Dude. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, well, I mean, you disrobe and you play blasting music at 6 a.m. while all the pledges are asleep. And I go, brilliant, I'm in. Dude. And I don't know if I did lead vocals. I think we might have switched off lead vocals, but I think I was playing the guitar and cranking hell's bells. And I saw the looks of our wonderful new initiates going through the week, and there was a lot of concern and I need more sleep. And we just laughed and we played the whole song through. Who was in that? Do you remember? I'm trying to remember who was in that, because that was like 87, like for the Lord's Pledge class.
You might have had a
Were you in it?
Brian Reed in that quartet.
Dude, I
Nutsy, if
think
Nutsy was still
so.
around, I know he was always a participant in the nude band, all 6'6" of them, whatever it was.
I think maybe Kenny
Okay.
Villas. I think he was, because wasn't he the pledge mom? So I think he might have been in
Okay.
it too. And it was just random. And then I think I'm going to take a little pat in the back. I think it gained a little momentum, and then it continued on for a couple years
Yeah.
after that, because of the success, if you want to call that, of the fine spring
You
of
talk
87.
about a shock to the senses of the pledges who were just trying to get some sleep. They probably had just the last few hours of quiet and were able to get just a brief respite from all that activity going on and that week. And then quietly sneaking down the stairs and setting up instruments comes a bunch of actives who just happen to be naked as well. And then they start blasting rock and roll music at you. That is uncomfortable at best.
Awkward. It was awkward. And that was the beauty of Epsilon Iota. Just, no shame. no shame. Another word we'd like to use at Epsilon Iota,
Yeah.
shame was a fun one.
Were you a prankster? Did you do stuff to upset guys' rooms or like find crafty ways to just F with them in any way?
I'm trying to think. I mean, some of the things I pointed out, but as far as like in people's rooms, oh yeah. So Gonzo and uh Mike Jackson were roommates, and I have my friends from high school. They were called the Pigs, and they came down for their spring break from UC
Okay.
Davis, and and we're like, let's drink some beer, and Mike Jackson was sleeping in his room, and his room was locked. And we're like, "Hey, Jackson, come on, let's get up, let's go, do tequila sunrise or whatever." And just no sound. And then my friend Bill kicked the door, and instead of it opening like that, it went flat down. And Jackson came up all hot and heavy. He's like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" And then he's like, "Oh, your friends are kind of big." He's a big guy, right? And he's like, "That's pretty hilarious." And I think he bit the bullet and drank tequila with us at 7 or 8 a.m. or whatever we did. That was probably the biggest prank I could think of doing. Most of my stuff was just kind of heckling or joining the peanut gallery at some of the meetings. That's probably my claim to
Okay.
fame.
Something else I know you have a bit of a claim to fame for, and it also has to do with nudity, oddly enough. Um, you started your own sub fraternity, Pi Nu, Party Naked.
Dude.
There's got to be a backstory. I know there was a trip to Mexico involved somewhere in there. Tell me about Pi Nu. What was the initiation like? How did you get involved with that? Like, let's hear some details on Pi Nu.
Wow, I forgot all about that. And hey, thanks for digging deep. So we're going down to San Felipe. I'd never been to Felipe. I just heard these great stories of luxury living on the beach, and um, being fed cherries, and this luxury site. Obviously, we know it's not true. And so I'm like, hey, let's rent a van, and we were like, cool, let's get some people in. And I think we got some of our little sisters and some of the guys, and and then somebody mentioned to me that there was some other fraternity that had a club called the Calico Club, and they drove naked or something like that. I'm like, hey, that sounds kind of cool. And I'm like, let's do that, but take it up a notch, and let's do like a fraternity name. And we called it Pi Nu, Party Naked. And the rule of the club to be initiated was, once you took the van from hell and you got to Felipe, you had to go into that ugly, swampy Baja
Yeah.
water, and disrobe, get naked, and just share it with the world. And so that was the initiation. I think everybody that was on that van took some clothes off, and absolute hilarious
Okay.
laughs, because it went from there to, once you got there, then it was going downtown, getting some border dogs, or they had that thing in San Felipe where the guy had the battery with the two cords attached to it, and he'd turn the voltage up while you held on to it. I remember we did that, and whoever could hold on the longest got a free beer or something like that. And so
Terrifying.
everyone
Oh my
failed.
God.
I think I think Chud did it. And I remember Chad's face, and he always had this kind of really intense face, and he was like, and he's like, I'm not gonna let go. And finally he let go at level
My
7 or something like
God.
that, and he got a free beer. So good for him. Rest in peace, Chad.
Yeah, I truly one of the genuine members of all time that we all very much miss. I have a note to do a special episode one of these days on those brothers of ours that are no longer with us, and he would certainly be top of the list to discuss and remember the wonderful elements that he brought to the house. If he doesn't go down as one of the all-time best rushers and just out there personalities that drew people in, men, women, otherwise, it would be useless to have it, because he is just a stellar, great individual that I think all of us truly miss.
Man, right on, dude. Wow, Jim, you got a lot of work ahead of you. You got a lot of interviews. I'm glad you squeezed me in early on before this thing starts piling up like a
Come
roller
on, man.
coaster.
This is so much fun. It's it's scratching an itch, and it's a great way to get rid of some good curiosity. And I know that all the bros are eager to hear from you and everybody else. So I want to keep this rolling as long as we can. Um, Nicknames are sometimes earned. Nicknames are sometimes just given. Sometimes they're because they rhyme with whatever your name is, or who knows what other reason. Rare is it, though, an individual has more than one. And you had two notable ones, and maybe others that we don't know about. The Doctor, of course, we all knew you and knew you well, and then you transferred into Cobra. I need to know the origin story on both of those. Were those self-glossed, or were those given to you? And then why did you add on one down the road?
It's a storied past, Jim. This is you guys are going to hear my darkest secrets
bring
here.
it. Come on.
So in high school, I took the normal names, actually, as you were alluding to, with kind of your last name. So I got Harris Mint, Harry Pie, and then one day one of my high school guys called me Pubic Harris, and I'm like, that's not good. That's not good.
I want that to
And
stick.
yeah. So I'm at I had affiliated with Epsilon Iota, and I think I told a few people call me Pubic Harris for whatever stupidity. And so I'm sitting on the campus lab lawn, reading a book, probably not, but it sounds better that way. Studying my books, and everybody's walking up and down the campus lab lawn, and Brad Drake walks by in his bright pink Massimo volleyball shorts, just walking his chest out, and he exactly, and he sees me sitting at campus lab lawn, and there are hundreds of people walking. He's like, "Hey, Pubic," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, just shamed." I'm like, "Oh my god." So from that day forward, I'm like, "That's Dr. Pubic Harris," and I eventually lost the whole Pubic Harris and became the Doctor. There's a couple stories behind going from Doctor to the Cobra. Some of them are a little more serious that, I won't explain here. That there's actually something that's heartfelt that I'll keep private, but I will share something that I had met a few people named Doctor over the years. And I'm like, I want to be like one of a kind, not just, like somebody's dog or a bartender's called Doc. I want to be unique. And my favorite baseball player of all time with the Oakland A's, he was a Pittsburgh Pirate, but he was a DH for the A's, was Dave Parker.
Cobra, sure.
And he was a lefty, and I was a lefty, and I could dong the heck out of the ball. And so I do get picked on for giving my own name. Usually you got to earn a name, but if no one's going to give me a name, I'm the Cobra. And so right now I've developed, this might be in the love of Chud, or maybe Raphael, and that's I've developed the Cobra into an image. It's not just my name, but it's a lifestyle. And so actually, if you'll see here, I do have my Cobra shirt on there, and that's for my pool party. I have an annual pool party and other events, and so there's no trademark yet, but I'm working on that part.
Bro,
and now
I don't know that anybody knows either of those, the complete backstory on that. That is fascinating. That's great. And we need to know more about this pool party too. You need to live stream that thing. Whatever that happens, we need to know about that. That sounds like a good time.
Oh, dude. All right, maybe we'll the streaming. Well, there'll be lots of streaming, but that'll probably
drinking and streaming.
Yeah. Just
so something else too that's got a backstory that I just kind of broke. You were nice enough to send over some cool pictures that I'll drop in throughout the edit here, and one of them was a party flyer for a party named Mango Bango. But that party was not party was not the Kappa Sigma Epsilon Iota version of Mango Bango. How did we bastardize that and just rip it away from Theta Iota, who was hosting their own Mango Bango for a number of years? How did that all come about?
Hey, thank you. I've been waiting for this interview just to voice this one topic here. Mango Bango came from San Jose State, and here's a flyer, and I think you'll pop it in there. But that was one thing that really drew me to the becoming a Kappa Sig was this party Mango Bango, and we had a graphic artist in the fraternity, just like Gonzo. We had a graphic artist at Theta Iota, and he put in these just awesome decorations. And so I wore the Mango Bango shirt around the fraternity at San Diego State, and somebody I'm sure saw me wearing that shirt, and they're like, "Oh wow, we should have it." I don't know if anybody connected it to San Jose State, but lo and behold, yeah, that was one of the rush events that drew
Okay.
me into joining the fraternity was this Mango Bango. I don't think they had 80 kegs or a treasurer like Mark Brown that, spared no expense at making sure that there was not one keg untapped, but it was a rip roaring
I was
time.
going to say,
I think
they talk about when they see celebs wearing the same thing, who wore it better, who did it better. Can you objectively give a like an opinion on who threw the better Mango Bango?
I'll give it Epsilon Iota. They did it better, but obviously we'll give the beginnings at San Jose State, and then putting it on steroids,
Right.
whatever, at San Diego State was just. I mean, I have some pictures somewhere. I didn't share it with you, but I think we all have pictures of that whole backyard just being filled
Yeah.
up, full with mounds of people, and just everybody having laughs in their
Yeah.
face. Good times.
What did you major in, and what was grad night like? Were you on the roof of the house till the wee hours and then rolled over to Aztec Bowl, or how was that whole experience, and who was with you?
Yeah, that's I was on the roof, and so let's see. I graduated. I walked through. Graduated spring '91, but I had two classes to finish up that I finished up at San Francisco State. So I graduated San Diego State, but I had to finish up two classes. But I walked through. Were you the same
I
time?
was
I'm trying
90. I
to
was
remember. We
spring
walked
90.
through. No, got it. In '91, walked through, and I was always enamored with Tequila Sunrise, and I think Gonzo. I'm trying. My memory's not that good, but I remember a few of us were on the roof, and we did the tequila, which was not advised because my parents were there and my grandma was at the at graduation. And there is a legendary picture of myself with a handful of bros, um, um, with our hats on crooked and smiles and roasting
Love it.
hot. Uh, is good times. Is hey my One of my greatest accomplishments ever was getting a college degree. So I'm super proud
Heck
of
yeah.
that. Hey, I maybe not the best student, not the worst student, just enough to
Yep.
get by.
Yep.
That's my motto, Jim. That's my motto. Expect a little, get a lot. That's my motto.
The Cobra. What was that first job out of college? Did you go the hardcore sales route, or did you something specific out of your major? What did you tackle first?
And this maybe a little bit of a like for me, this is not the most exciting story, but I didn't know what to do. Like I graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics, and so I'm like, what do I do? My dad's an engineer, and he's like, "Oh, did I
No.
lose you?" Um, I graduated, and I didn't know what to do. Like, this is obviously way before internet or anything going on there, and so I I looked at the newspaper, and I'm like, well, maybe I should be an economist. And so I applied for some economics jobs. I just had no clue. And then I talked to some friends up in the Bay Area. They're like, oh yeah, I'm selling, long distance with, these XYZ company. And uh, lo and behold, I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. I want to make money and I like working with people. And I started inside sales at a couple companies, and I bounced around for 10 or 15 years working technology sales jobs. Obviously up here, I did a lot during the dot-com boom days. Those were really high-flying days. Uh, then gradually moved into some recruiting, and I've been back in pure sales for the past 15 years.
So where were we? We're talking about you were getting into the part of your career where you were more involved in the recruiting side of things.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, just I would break it down in two segments of my career. So sales. Then I actually moved to Thailand to work for Microsoft for a year, and I
Wow.
lived overseas for a year. That was awesome. Just
Okay.
absolutely great experience. Working internationally and just international experience is just fabulous. And so I I came back, and because I'd worked overseas, I didn't think I was very marketable to get back into sales. So a friend of mine from San Diego State's like, hey, why don't you do recruiting? And I worked at Google when they had 600 employees. Like, it was the hottest thing around. The downside is it was contract work, so no equity, no stock. And so I just kind of bounced around in recruiting jobs for a handful of years. And then um, my love has always been in sales, because you control your destiny, right? If you perform well, you're employed and safe.
Yep.
Recruiting is a little bit more cyclical, depending if the economy is going well or not.
Okay. Is there
And
does anything stand out as a trait or skill that you learned, either through SDSU or Epsilon Iota, that contributed to your career success?
Uh, yes, bubbliness. My bubbliness has been very, very critical for my career. Both having bubbles at the 94th Aero Squadron and other places, and then also just being, kind of a friendly person. That's what I've learned, probably working in tech, is everyone's all about, like, hey, we could do this, and positive attitude and teamwork. Like, I really bought into all that type of stuff. Like, working with others, cross training, sharing best practice. And so, that's, I was a big follower of that. I think that's been a core reason for the success of my
That
career.
ability to communicate with people that are like different backgrounds, different personality types, and things like that. I think that's, it comes out of that blending of 110 different people in a. Because
Got it.
what I want to talk about now is, I know there's something you're very proud about, and you've worked very hard over the years up there in Northern California as part of the SDSU alumni community. And so much so that back in, I think, I don't do much research with this. I intentionally do not do much research, but I did research this. Back in 2015, you won the Monty Award. And I want to kind of read a few things about it, because it's so dang impressive. And I know you're very proud of it, but what the Monty Award is done, it's honored to the top alumni given by San Diego State University, administered through their alumni association, and it recognizes distinguished alumni who have identified outstanding professional achievement, service to the university, service to the community, and embodiment of SDSU values. And really, what it awards and what got you selected was your sustained leadership within the alumni network, and it honored your contribution to aligning with not only the values of the university, but that you were a leader in recruiting and running a regional alumni chapter, tangible outcomes in creating real career pathways, mentorship and internships and jobs for people, and leveraging your professional position in Silicon Valley to recruiting access and benefiting SDSU. My brother, that is fantastic and a really wonderful achievement and accomplishment. How does all that make you feel? Like, what do you how good does that resonate with you, in terms of just knowing that you are up there banging that drum for SDSU, and that the school recognizes it and gives you this really distinguished award?
Man, Jim, it's so much nicer when someone else says it, because, like, I'm the humblest, most humble guy. I'm a wise guy, but I'm a humble guy, and so I never really, try to over deliver that. But it's I mean, it's one of the greatest awards you can get from San Diego State University, maybe the greatest. And
Right.
so, it's a testament to leading Bay Area alumni for, actually, this is a cool story. Tomorrow is my 20th year leading the chapter, and I'm retiring because I'm too old for this. Like, remember when you were a student, you're like, oh, I don't want to mix with old people. I'm that old guy now. And so, there's some new blood coming in, but tomorrow is the 20th year of the Bay Area Aztecs. And, I hold my hat high on that, a lot of that's just been staying persistent and being a great ambassador for the university, trying to do good things. And thanks for all that mention. That's, you hit everything spot on. Lots of effort.
That's great. What is it? How big is the chapter? How many people do you have? What sort of events do you do?
We they're about half a million living alumni, I believe, and there are about 25,000 alumni in the San Francisco Bay Area, roughly speaking. And so, obviously, San Diego is the biggest. LA has a ton, and the Bay Area has quite a bit, and then there's other places. And so, I've got, uh, actively involved 50 to 100, that have joined regularly, and there's hundreds, maybe thousands of people that, they follow our posts or announcements. And I've done everything from golf tournaments to, we did the Beta Breakers with clothes on, which is a running race up here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
We did barbecues, networking events, basketball, like during that Final Four when we were in there a couple years ago. Man, that was electric. It's so much fun being around, everyone wearing red and black, and younger people just, just with joy like you can't believe. I actually was with Mark Brown at Shanghai Kelly's, a famous bar up here.
Yeah.
And I almost passed out. I was hyperventilating because I was like, oh my God, the buzzer beater. I can't, that doesn't happen to us. Like, our days, Jim, are, winning a couple games and failing at the end. And so, it's been a little tough for us to kind of get on board, but I think we're all on board now with how great the university's been, academics and athletics. Like, it's just, it makes our degree more valuable. That's something Stephen Weber, our past president, said years back. Hey, your degree, Keith and Jim, is worth more today because of the school excelling in academics across the board.
100%.
So that hits me hard.
100%. I am so dang proud. Like, I so proudly wear hats and shirts and stuff like that, representing San Diego State. And, our athletic achievements aside, I'm very proud now that that university is kind of the gold standard in terms of the state schools, anywhere in the system. And if not recognized nationally for its education prowess. And now here we are on the rise, athletically, which is even better. And if we can figure out this NIL thing and get some good donors in there, we can raise that bar too, which I can't wait for. But yeah, no, proud Aztec, and good on you for kind of waving the flag up there. And
hey, thank you.
Keep it up,
Hey,
man. Keep it up.
and hey, hey, the joke that we all, talk about is, could you get in there today? And there's not a chance I can get to San Diego State today.
Not a chance.
It is a
2
tough
years at
school to get in.
Grossmont wouldn't get me in there today. Like,
Dude,
there's no way.
I wouldn't be able to have any fun.
My niece just got accepted, and we're just all thrilled. And I keep telling everybody in the family, you guys have no idea how hard what she accomplished just by getting accepted to there. And I can't wait. I hope we're having that. She's having to make a tough decision here, and I hope it goes our way that she goes to state.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. You're close to the
I think,
beach.
come on.
Yeah. Come on, talk. Let Uncle Cobra talk to her. I'll trust
All right. I know you have something queued up for us in the form of music. Maybe a couple. You have your pledge class song is pretty important, as they all are to everybody. What's the theme that it's written against? And do you have a couple of verses you can drop on us?
Yeah. Hey, thanks. So, hey, this is close to my soul, right? So I was part of the Tau pledge class. So it basically just went the Greek alphabet, alpha, beta, so forth. Then we got to the Tau pledge class, and we had a guy we had a couple guys in military. Like I'd mentioned, one guy was a Navy SEAL. I don't know if he still is, because he's in his late 50s like myself. But we wrote kind of a military marching song. And if you might share this after the conversation, I'm just going to read one verse.
All right,
I'm going to read one verse. It's sung to the song of Sweet Home. So let's. We are a fucking unit. We are the Tau pledge class. Kappa Sigma is my home. We're gonna drink some beer and grab some ass. Kappa Sigma is my home. Just hilarious, dude.
Love it.
Military song, and our initiation week was San Diego. Epsilon Iota was brutal. Ours was pretty brutal. Like, well, I was not ready for it. I felt like I was in boot camp, and I was just eyes wide open every day. But hey, I made it through.
Was it about that same cadence in terms of like about 4 or 5 days, coming on a Wednesday, and then you're there through Saturday night, initiation on Sunday?
Exactly right. And just, but you didn't know that, but that's the way, in retrospect, it was like roughly a little less than a week to get through it.
Were there any food items that came out of your initiation that you remember, much like the beats that we all had to entertain, that you can no longer even possibly think about stomaching?
Dude, I think we had, I think on one of our last days, they sat us all around a table and they're like, "Hey guys, you feeling good?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're feeling good." We're like, starting to get kind of like, "Hey, are we close to being done with all this?" And they had a big bowl of brandy, like a brandy drink, and they had some cherries in there and some whipped cream, and they're like, hey, pledges, we got you something to drink. And we're like, "Oh, great." And we got a straw and we just sipped on it. We're like, "Oh, cool, we get to have a few drinks." And then lo and behold, as we're drinking, starting to smile and thinking we're towards the end, they all push our faces into the bowl and make us, drink it with our bare mouths.
Okay.
It was good laughs.
All right.
Other stuff will obviously will not appropriate for public
Doesn't need
broadcast,
to
but
get out
lots of
publicly. All right. All right, buddy. I'm going to wrap you up here with your stare into the flame segment. Are you ready? 5 hard-hitting, short answer questions that are going to put you on the spot. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What's your go-to order late night drunk Los Panchos?
Oh, come on. 5 rolled tacos with extra guac.
All right.
No brainer.
The brown, a little brown. The guac's still a little brown. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, a little brown. And the cook there, the chef, was a Romeo. This little fun fact. Yeah, he's great.
I can't remember Bertone's roommate, but we know Romeo at Los Panchos. Here, you want? I got Dave Cisneros calling me. Should I say, hey?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, I'm right in the middle of recording with Keith Harris. You're now on the recording. Is there anything you'd like to ask? We're in the middle of the stare into the flame segment. Is there anything you'd like to ask or know here? You got nothing. All right. I'll call your ass back later. Bye. All right. Number 2. Here we go.
The little Spaniard. Is that the little Spaniard?
The little Spaniard. Yeah.
Hey, Jim, did you have a nickname by chance? I have the Cobra and the Doctor. Didn't you have a nickname?
I earned somehow. Well, I know how. Slim came out of it as a result of a chapter meeting that went a little sideways. That one actually has stuck. I didn't tell the people that now know that and call me that why I got that, but just because more of the rhyming element, I think they carried that one on. So yeah, I guess
good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, trying to hold on to the representation of that too, but it's getting harder as we get older.
Good balancing act.
Here we go. Who was your ride or die bro that you knew you could call on anytime to go stir up some sort of shenanigans?
God, it probably holds true to this day, and that's Jeff Donnelly. God, my best bud. Like we really ham and egg it really well.
Okay.
I went for my 50th birthday with him to Scotland with a bunch of other people, and we had a blast. Good dude. Good man.
He is. Word or phrase that you learned at EI that still rings in your head today?
Probably there's gonna be a couple. There's be slacker, stare in the flame. I'm gonna go with stare in the flame.
Okay.
It just became it was just appropriate for any situation. Like, if you just kind of freeze in mid conversation, stare in the flame.
Get out of line a little bit. Somebody just stare in the flame. Just reset your act.
Stop. Reset. Yeah.
All right. Gonzo suggested that Cameron Crowe write the movie about EI. And when he does, who plays you? What actor plays you?
Well, I would, if people from Epsilon Iota voted, particularly Randy Gray, it'd be Brother Blutarski, John Belushi.
Okay.
But how about I'd like to throw in who's action and adventure. Oh man, you put me on the spot here. I don't really have this well thought out, but I'm gonna say who's dude, that guy Jason Stratham,
okay,
the bald guy that does the mechanic.
Yeah,
just because I like his acting. He's a badass.
He is like badass. Myself. He's got that badass element. All right. I know you're a big car buff, and you've collected several over the years and some beautiful ones. And maybe if you can send me a couple pictures after those, I can drop those in too. You've got that badass convertible gassed up, ready to go, head to Mexico. You got 3 seats to fill. Who's in that car with you? Who's on the roadie?
Oh man. Well, let's see. We could probably fit 8 people in there. So we're
Okay,
gonna throw
yeah,
in,
fill it up. Let's
yeah,
go.
it's a huge car. It's a huge car. We're gonna throw in you, Jim Miller.
Love it.
We're gonna throw in Donley. Let's see who's in San Diego. Jasoy, Gordo. And if I'm missing other people in San Diego, I apologize. Donley, I already said that. I'm gonna pull in Kevin Carter from OC.
Love it.
And I think I'd pull in the pincher just because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen with that guy.
Bring a backpack only, nothing more than a backpack, and a wad of cash, and tuck some bail money in your sock, right?
Exactly right. And just pray you get across the border. Pray.
My man, you are all kinds of awesome, and I'm grateful you took the time out to chat with me, and I know this is going to be really well received because you answer a lot of questions. You disclosed a lot of information about for my money, I think a lot of the other guys, one of the more unique and memorable characters and personality that we all lived with and loved with and grew with along the way. So, man, keep it up, and we all got to get together. We got to get you down for a homecoming. You've missed out on the last couple. We got to get you down here for one of those, and find a way for maybe a group of us to come up there and hang out with you up in wine country and see what that's all about.
Right on, Jim. Like, count me in. Your passion for putting these interviews together is just brilliant, and so I want to kind of compliment the effort you're putting in, and I'm certainly getting down to San Diego more often is going to be on my list.
Love it.
I will see you soon.
All right, man. Thanks so much, Keith. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Right on. Cheers, Jim.
It's Not Over Yet is a production of EYB Enterprises. This episode is brought to you by nudity, just nudity in general. Executive producers for It's Not Over Yet are David Cisneros, Mike Gonzales, and Brian Sipe. The host is Jim Miller. If you'd like to be notified every time a new episode of It's Not Over Yet is available, simply go to itsnotoveryetpodcast.substack.com, drop in your email, and we'll send you out a note every time a new episode hits the air. Thanks for coming out.